everyone, and thank you for taking the time to tune in with us tonight. Tonight, we have Kacey Kasem. This is episode 21 of the Game Changers, and we're having so much fun getting to know the community and making them say stuff that they don't want to say. Wendi and I are really blessed that the Game Changers have become more than a show for us. They've become family. Thank you, Evan, Iggy, and JC, and TSA crew for giving us this platform to connect with wonderful individuals through the community. We are learning so much about the personalities of each and every one we host. They're taking us to their home and sharing with us their personal experiences with fantasy football and life itself. Wendi?
Thanks, Carla. That was wonderful. I just wanted to say a little something. Y'all, I had a really rough week last week, okay? It was a very rough week for my family, and I appreciate all the prayers and the thoughts. And I said something insensitive last week, and I think I need to own up to that and apologize, explain. It was brought to my attention, and it really kind of bothered me. And I just wanted everyone to know that when I say, oh, don't worry, no one's watching, no one cares, that's just, I just kind of joke about that to make people feel comfortable that maybe haven't been behind the camera before, such as our guest last week. So it was just a joke to me. I didn't mean it in any way, shape, or form. I appreciate every single person that comes here to this show every week, and there are a lot of you. I'm going to get choked up. I'm sorry. Like I said, it was a really rough week, so I do apologize. I love every single one of you, even Scott Frankel, okay? Don't tell him because I don't think he's here, but even him, okay? But, thank you, everyone. And again, thank you for reaching out. So, Carla, thank you for letting me say that.
Sure. Kacey Kasem, when I heard your name the first time, I told Doug Orth, I for sure want to talk to her because I know that she is from Lebanon because of her last name. So I want to talk to you about that, maybe when we go through the episode. So we did talk a little bit in the expo about your name. And I'm so eager to tell everyone about your name and your last name and what's all about. So we exchanged a little fun story with that. I would love to share it with everyone. Kacey, your achievements in the fantasy community are remarkable. A writer, a wife, a fur mama for 2 fur babies, and you're a podcast host, Get Real with Kacey Kasem. We cannot wait to hear more about you tonight. How are you? And welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I was so excited to get the invite. Oh man, this is so fun. This is so great, and I appreciate y'all having me on for real. Like what you guys are doing is just.
This is kind of like the other end of the spectrum for you because you have your own show that people come on and talk. So
yeah, being on the other side of it, we'll see. I know you said say some stuff that you might not want to say, but I'm an open book. So what are we gonna do?
I was just gonna say you might know you didn't know what you got yourself into tonight.
Listen, we got to say a story after like 50 years, so we will see what we're going to get you to say.
Oh, Kacey, before we get started, I wore my Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, that's what's up.
For you.
Hey.
That is just for you. Not to mention, I have on my...
Yeah.
Change my mind. Des dropped it.
Yeah.
Which is an original Kacey Kasem. I just got it in the mail the other day. I'm so excited. It's really nice too. It's a good t-shirt. It's good quality. It kind of reminds me of Obvious shirts. I own a lot of those. It's the same kind of quality. And I'm so glad that I got the black one. I really like it. So and you sent me, I got a sticker too. I was so excited.
Hey man, I mean, they do all the behind the scenes stuff, but I appreciate that, and I appreciate you purchasing that because as soon as all that stuff went on, I was like, you know what, That needs to be on a t-shirt. That needs to be on a t-shirt.
I'm really sad about that whole situation, and we can get into that later. I want to get all bummed out, but I will tell you too that even in my package there was another T-shirt, like a second T-shirt. I didn't pay for it, and so I kind of reached out to Kacey. I'm like, "Hey man, there's another T-shirt inside my package. What
suppliers.
Hey, it was Static X. I'll wear it. It's a
Yeah.
black Static X
Right.
T-shirt. It's pretty
There you
cool."
go.
So,
I'm sorry, Kacey. My team won, so I'm wearing
oh,
Kansas
of
City.
course.
Oh, of course. Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, my team hasn't won in so long. You know.
I love Dallas.
yes,
you know.
I love Dallas. They should have
Let's talk
done
about that.
something.
Yeah, that's your
Yeah.
team there.
Oof.
Born and raised in Texas, right?
Yes, born and raised in Texas. Grew up in McKinney, where I am now. Basically, been here my whole life. Born in Fort Worth, but made the trek up this way with the fam, and here I am now.
Have you been to a game, a Dallas Cowboys game? Yeah,
I have. We actually, I went to a game at AT&T Stadium. They were playing the Eagles. They ended up winning, so that was awesome. I've also gone and seen them. I've seen them in New Orleans, and I've seen them in when they were playing San Francisco in San Francisco. So,
oh, how nice!
yeah,
That
we were
is
trying to
cool.
go to like lots of different, and then 2020 happened, and then we were just like, oh, now what?
It's kind of a bucket list for me to go to Dallas Cowboys game. You
Yeah.
know, so that you're not that far from there. So if I need a place to stay, right?
Right on. If you like dogs, then come on with it.
Well,
Kacey,
I
how did
would really. That would be fun.
Kacey, how did you get involved in fantasy football?
What happened was I had a friend who was looking for one more person to join his fantasy football league. And he was like, you watch football all the time. I'm sure you'd be great at this, come on. So I joined. I had no clue what I was doing. Obviously, I was just a fan of the Cowboys. I was like, whatever, so I jumped in and kind of ended up winning it all. That's the story. That's how it goes.
Of course you did.
Little old me over here, not knowing what I'm doing. And then I beat a bunch of guys, and then I didn't get invited back to the league the next year, but I was like, whatever. I started my own league and had all of the friends that I had that are female that wanted to play fantasy football, and were just kind of like, I don't know. Where do I get started? How do I do it? I was like, come on over. We'll do live drafts. That's what I have behind me, all my live draft boards from doing that league. So that's kind of how I got started, just in the fantasy space. And I was already on Twitter, so I had been following people for a long time. And that's how I started getting more information on fantasy football, was all this gold that you have on Twitter.
These are the stuff that you did. That's how you started. You kidding me?
I just jumped into it the second year, which was my first year as a commish of that league. Just jumped into it. We did it live, and we've been doing it live until everybody started moving away and all that stuff. So we still get as many people together as we can and draft, from the app. But this was the bomb back in the day, like doing the live drafts. I love live drafts.
That's
so much fun. Yeah, it's an entirely different experience.
100%. It's so fun. It's like you look forward to it. And I know a lot of my friends were like, gosh, why does it take so long? I want to just get it done so we can, I was like, we can party and hang out and draft and it'll be fun. I promise. And there we go.
Now
my first experience. Sorry, Wendi.
Oh yeah, no, go ahead.
My first expo experience was a live draft like that, and I loved it. The second one was online, so I was not that excited about it, but yeah, I do believe the live draft was more like of an excitement for me. So I do agree with you. Thank you, Wendi.
Which is kind of, you get to meet everybody, and a lot of times it's people that you are already interacting with on Twitter and you've never met them. And, for me, I went to Chicago live draft for Scott Fishbowl. You were in Dallas, right?
Yes.
Oh, man, you're so lucky. You know who was in Dallas, don't you? My bestie.
Yeah, that's why.
That's too. I saw it. Hey, look, it's even my name there.
Yeah.
So it was so cool to actually meet the people. And sometimes you don't even know what they look like. It's kind of like when you're at the expo, everybody needs a little name badge with their their little Twitter handle and, a little picture of what their profile looks like. But there is nothing like a live draft. I would take that any day of the week.
Yeah, for sure. I love them.
It's funny too, because, you started out, I heard you say this earlier, that you just were a fan,
Yeah,
you
100%.
I mean, your story is kind of like my story, except your story's way better because you're like really good at this. Okay. But it's just amazing, so when you go to the expo, you don't feel like just a fan anymore,
Right.
And I remember I ran into you. I didn't see you until, I saw you, but I didn't know who you were. I mean, I knew who you were, but I never met you. And I was kind of intimidated. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's Kacey Kasem, I'm going to go talk to her. So I finally, at the end of the night, I think it was on Saturday night after everybody got rained on and, drizzled on and stuff. I'm like, we're sitting at the bus or waiting for the bus. I would say maybe we were a little tipsy. I'm not sure. Okay. I'm not speaking for you, but okay, maybe I was a little tipsy.
I'm always a little tipsy, but hey.
And I'm like, oh, hi, Kacey. Can I have a picture? And she's like, heck yeah, so I was so excited about that. That was one of my highlights. I'm like, I finally got to meet Kacey.
Yeah, I mean, the expo is such an awesome experience and getting to meet people from Twitter, but I mean, it's a lot. It is a lot going up to people and doing all of that. And I've been on Twitter for a really long time. So like I have people in my home live draft, these women. I have women like there's Amy Garcia I met on Twitter, and then she lived right down the street, just the stone's throw away. So I was like, we need an extra woman in our league. Boom. So like just meeting people and getting to like experience the same kind of stuff with them and be excited about it. I just love that.
That's amazing.
We're all a bunch of nerds.
Yeah. I love it though. You know what? I have a reason to be a nerd and I'll be proud of it.
So what inspired you to pursue your current profession? I know that you left your current position and you are concentrating more on fantasy football and everything. What did inspire you? What's that fire that's in you that you want to do fantasy football more?
It's gotten to a point where I'd be working all day, and the job that I was doing, I appreciate them so much. Like I got my student loans forgiven because I worked for the government. I got all of that good stuff, and I was there for 13 years, and it just kind of got to be the same stuff over and over all day long. And I'm like, at the end of the day, when I come home, I want to put out fantasy content, but I can't because I'm tired and I don't want to, and I'm just frustrated. And I'm like, been talking to my wife about this for a while, about not wanting to work there anymore and finding something that I'm more interested in, something that I'm excited about. Well, I'm obviously excited about fantasy football and the community and bringing stories to people. And today was my first day, like doing it, trying to like, go out there and do stuff. And I've been working on stuff all day long. Like the time just flew, but I was like, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I'm not really getting paid for this though, So I'm like, I'm still in that beginning stage where I'm like, okay, listen, it's going to be okay. I've talked with my dad. I've talked with my wife. Like my wife and I both have lost parents at early ages. And like, we knew that they didn't get to do all the stuff that they wanted to do. Like my mom was 50. I just turned 40. I'm like, I'm not, there's so much more I want to do. You know what I mean? And so why be in an office all day for 8 hours checking other people's work and just getting tired of it and just doing that day in and day out? I was like, I really got to make a change. So right now I'm trying to put out more fantasy content and do more in the space and try to get things monetized and get things going the way that I want them to go. And I know that having this goal is lofty, but I feel like I'm in a position where I've been saving and I've been doing this. Like I've got game plan down. I just have to get it out there, and get it going. And I have to keep reassuring myself and going to therapy and talking to my therapist to make sure that I'm not, freaking out for no reason. But,
I'm having goosebumps, Kacey.
I'm just so tired. I get so tired. And we went to Africa and we just went to, Winnipeg, and we've been traveling, and it's just so much easier to be able to work without having to like use my PTO and then not have any more or whatever. And that was great to be able to use all that PTO before I quit, but I just want to be able to work remotely, do that kind of stuff, put my content out when I want to, and just work I don't know if you can cuss on here or not, but work my butt off. How about that?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going
You
to work
met me?
my ass off. I'm working my
Yes.
ass off, and I'm going to just continue to just keep trying to put out stuff that people want to consume, because I've been a consumer of fantasy football content for so long. And I know that everybody's different and everybody has a different flavor of what they like, and just try to put out something that, the homies can appreciate.
The
If
homies.
something that you love, something that you have the fire for it, I do believe you're gonna succeed. And
Listen to her talk, Carla. Listen to
Yeah.
her talk about
I'm
it.
telling you,
that
I
is
have
some passion
goosebumps.
there.
Like you have so much passion. That's amazing. Jerry is saying something. Was you ever starstruck or anything during these live drafts? If so, who was the first person that you was nervous to go up to talk to?
Well, I haven't actually been that nervous to meet people at the live draft with any of the live drafts that I've done. And I've done a few with, back in the day, there was a fantasy football convention that went on here. So I did some live drafts there. And like the first people I met there was Derek Brown, D-Bro, if you guys know him. And
yes.
he's from around here. And I was not really nervous to meet him, but it was kind of like meeting somebody again on the internet for the very first time. The biggest person that I've been nervous to go up to was at one of those conventions was Liz Loza. And I mean, I had been drinking all day too. So I'm like, I don't want to make a fool of myself. Here we go. These were the young days, right? But yeah, so she and I she saw that I was wearing a Scott Fishbowl shirt when I was there. And she was like, I'm in the Scott Fishbowl. Oh my gosh. And she came up to me.
Was smart.
And she didn't really think I liked her. And I didn't really think she liked me. But then we became really tight, and she sent me a present for my wedding and all this stuff. And she's such a great, I just love her. So Liz Loza is one of those people that really shouldn't be nervous to go up and talk to, because she's totally chill. I know plenty of people have had them on, had her on their show, and she's just been nothing but awesome. So I appreciate her so much.
I was nervous talking to you, Kacey.
Yeah. No, don't be nervous. Nobody should ever be nervous talking to me.
I'm not kidding.
I would say mine was at the Chicago live draft. I would say Andy Behrens, because he was he was the star, and he was in my division. I'm like, and I turn around, he's fucking sitting behind me, and I'm like, holy shit, Andy Behrens.
Love
is back
Andy,
there.
man. He's
and you
so
know
great.
What? We're like this now. Andy and I are like this, okay?
And that's just he's such an awesome dude.
People. And I noticed in your bio, with you moving into the content full time, that you had mentioned Ryan Hallam.
Yep.
And I want to know, because I see how supportive he is of women in the industry. How did he affect this decision?
I actually reached out to him, and I reached out to a few of the people in the space that I just value their opinions, because he's been there since day one for me. I wasn't putting out content or even thinking about putting out content. And my friend Tim Turner, he's also a big part of that. I was helping him test out his podcasting equipment and all this stuff. And actually Liz Loza was supposed to be on at that time too, but that didn't work out. But afterwards, he's like, why don't you do this? And so I kind of said that on Twitter, why don't I do this? Right. Jimmo. Why don't I do this? Right. I've been on podcasts before, just talking as a fan, and why not be able to write? And Ryan was the first person to reach out to me and be like, hey, do you want to put out content? Do you want to write? You can do what you want to do. I'll let you, write about what you want to write about. And I had a blast doing that. And Ryan was nothing but helpful and supportive. And he's just a great guy. And meeting him in person too at the expo, he's just been such a champion for women and such a cheerleader for all of us. I just really appreciate everything that he's done. And I hope he knows that.
He does now, if he didn't. And I agree with that. I mean, I couldn't wait to meet him. He is exactly the way he is on Twitter is exactly the way he is in real life. And he was great. And I just noticed he's such a big cheerleader. So yeah. I wanted you to share that. So thank you for that.
Yeah, for sure.
That's amazing. So Kacey, the first time I saw you at the expo, I honestly, really, I was like, would I talk to her? Would I not talk to her? Should I talk to her? And Doug was like next to me and like, just talk to her. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know her. Like, she's on Twitter and she have lots of followers and I don't know what to say. But I do believe she's Lebanese because of her last name. And then after some like yes and no's, and I'm like, are you from Lebanon? And you told me that it's not your real name. Do you
No,
care
it's not. Yeah,
to
yeah,
the name and last
yeah,
name?
yeah. Okay, go listen to my podcast episode of Get Real. No, I'm just kidding. But I do drop my name every now and then. If you, okay, I'll go ahead and tell you guys a secret. It's Royer. Okay, Royer is my last name. There you go. And it was funny. It's just funny because I got a nickname, Kacey Kasem. Obviously, the DJ Kacey Kasem. You know, Shaggy's voice. Come on, guys. The cool, so hip. You know, so hip.
Top 40.
Top 40, baby. And yeah, I got that nickname and like kind of just had my fantasy. It wasn't my fantasy football Twitter at the time. It's still my personal Twitter, but like my name is my name. So that's what I put. I put my nickname because whatever, it's cooler than my real last name. Don't tell my dad that, please. But you know, so that's kind of just how it happened. And now I'm Royer and now I'm Kasem in the fantasy football space. My wife, she's Royer, and she had her badge at the expo and lost it. So over the announcement, they're like, Sarah Royer, you know, we found your badge. And I start screaming, that's my wife. I'll get it. And Shane Manila turns around to me and he's like, that's your last name, Royer? I'm like, dude, you're friends with me on Facebook. You should know my last name. So.
It's just so funny. I always thought that was your real last name.
I totally. People are always asking me, even like starting on Rotoballer. Like I'm going to be putting out content with them, and I started like filling out all the stuff and telling them this, that, and the other. And the guys like, the guys are like, hey, Kacey Kasem, your parents must have been real big fans of, Kacey Kasem. I'm like, nah, they didn't really name me this. Like, my parents would have been really, really crazy if they named me that. So,
Well, I would like to know. Yeah. Yeah, just you're a Lebanese by proxy.
Yeah, by proxy. There you go. I like it.
Well, when you first started doing your podcast, and I listened to your podcast the other day on my way home with Dustin, okay, because I freaking love Dustin. He's another one of those in the space that is just so supportive of women, and it was really, really good, But so with the Get Real, you were a finalist in the FSWA Best Fantasy Podcast like 2 years, right?
Yeah, so 2 years in a row. This last year and or 2023 and 2022. So yeah, it's been crazy because I've been nominated with all these. I'm a finalist with all these big name shows. Like Pat Mayo won last year, and I interviewed Pat Mayo before, so I'm like, I kind of won. Again by proxy, kind of. So, but yeah, it's been like that was such a cool experience for me. Like I just shake when I find these things out, and like
that's what I was gonna say. Like when that all dropped, you were just like, so you had no idea. You don't find out until everyone else finds out.
Right. Don't find out until everyone else finds out. And luckily, I've been able to put out episodes that I think are pretty amazing. And so like this year it was J Mike's episode. So if you guys know J Mike, he's a pretty dope individual, John Michael. And the year before that, who was it? Oh man. Why am I drawing a blank? Oh man, I would do that. It'll come back to me in like 5 seconds.
We'll circle back.
So yeah, JJ Zacharyson, that's who it was. All right. So just had to think a second. But yeah, so knowing, that I'm putting out content that people are putting in a category with people like that, I'm like, wow, dude, like that takes my breath away.
Do you not realize you are people like that?
No, see, that's the thing, right? We always talk about imposter syndrome on my podcast and all that stuff. Like, I'm, and it's the same way when I was a fan. When I had like 500 followers, and I was like following her fantasy football, and Brandon Marianne Lee is like my homie. Oh, I love Brandon Marianne Lee. And like, she was like one of those people where I'm like, that's a celebrity. And now, I don't feel like that, but like, I can see people looking at me like that. And I'm like, really, it's not like that. I've been on Twitter since like 2006 or whatever. Like, the followers, that's from 2006 to now. So
how many followers do you have now?
I don't know, 8,000 something.
That's nice.
But I try to follow people too. I don't always follow people back, and that's not on purpose. It's just sometimes it gets out of the ratio there. It's like hard for me to like keep up with everything. But when somebody like comments or likes something and they like really are trying to like have a conversation with me, I'll be like, why am I not following you? And then I'll follow the person, and that's just how it comes, just kind of naturally. I don't just go out and follow a bunch of people. But the follower count to me at one point, I will say, at a follower count in my head mattered, right? To me, it mattered. But really what matters is how many people are actually giving a crap about what you're putting out and care about you. And, you could have all these numbers, but you never interact with those people. And I want to be able to interact with people and have that kind of, bond with people on the internet.
Well, I saw your last episode just dropped yesterday or day before yesterday.
I dropped one today.
Oh, was it today? It's Toronto Dave, right? Toronto
Dave. Yep.
That's another one. Like,
I love Toronto Dave. Yeah.
And Gemma, look at that.
Thank
Gemma's
you.
just
That's
the
so
greatest,
sweet.
isn't he?
I love Gemma too. He's been on too. So, yeah, great individuals out there. So.
Yep. Yeah. My debut was on Gemma's show.
Yeah.
I don't really want to talk about that. Let's move on. Go ahead, Carla.
Kacey, do you have any advice you would like to give someone that is starting in your industry?
Yeah. The first piece of advice that I can give is, or the biggest piece probably, when I first started, I had no clue what I was doing. Reach out to somebody. Like, if you feel comfortable enough, or you have somebody that's been doing it, reach out to people, because more than likely they're going to help you. Like, Russ Fisher was instrumental in me being able to podcast, because I had no clue what I was doing. I didn't know. And like, for him to be able to like help me set up on StreamYard and figure out what I needed to do and kind of just tell me it'll get easier as you go. And he was right. Just reach out to people, because the community is very, very awesome. And most people are willing to help you out.
I totally agree. I mean, look at me. I was never into fantasy football or anything. And they put me with such a great sister right now, Wendi. I'm learning so much from her. And JC and the family. I mean, we're like inseparable right now, and we're doing
Awesome.
Great. And we're meeting up.
We've learned a lot from you too, Carla. You know what, Kacey, Carla and I haven't. Yeah, we haven't met yet. We have not met in person
really
yet. Yeah.
No.
So I met both of you last year, and neither of you met each other. Okay, I see.
I know, it's crazy.
This year. We can't wait for this year.
Yeah.
The best hug. The best hug ever. I can't wait to see her. Seriously.
But I know that you said your wife Sarah, you guys like to travel. I'm not sure which trip I want to talk about first. So you pick which trip. Do you want the Zimbabwe trip, or do you want the ice hotel trip? We got to talk about one of them first.
We'll go with Zimbabwe, just because like there was so much.
Because it was Zimbabwe.
So yeah. Who goes to Zimbabwe? I did. Yeah. Oh man, that trip. It was great. It was, if anybody gets a chance to go to Zimbabwe, do it. Like, I got the opportunity.
What made you choose that?
Okay, so here's what it is. So Sarah always wanted to go to Africa. She wanted to go on safari. She wanted to do that. Okay, cool. In the back of my mind, sure, I'll place that back there and we'll think about it. But who's going to go to, I can't. So my friend Marissa is engaged to a man named Wellington. He's also my friend, but I met him through her, and he's from Zimbabwe originally. He came here in 99, and he was going back for Christmas. And he's like, why don't you guys come with me? Because I know Shona, I know how to speak the language. I know, how to get around, this, that, and the other, all the stuff. And it's like, cool. So that's how we ended up going is, he was like already going to go out there. So he went out like a week before we did and, stayed with his parents. And then when we met up, we all stayed in Airbnbs and stuff. So that was pretty cool having somebody that actually knew what was up.
How long did it take you to get there?
Jesus. Man, I wish I could remember now. It was so long because we had to fly. We flew from DFW to Qatar, from there to
around 16 hours, maybe.
Yeah, it was like 16, 17, 8, I don't know, depending. Because we had to stop somewhere else, and then we got to finally get up, and it was like
this
finally
is how much
get back
for Lebanon. So
you get it, yeah. Yes. So it was a lot, and I had never flown. Obviously, had never flown on a flight that long. We went to Italy for our honeymoon, and so like I was in, and we were like in good seats for our honeymoon, right? My wife was like, "You're not going to be so happy when we go on this flight to Africa," because, and it was fine. It was a fine flight. I watched a ton of movies that I'd already seen, but just wanted to rewatch, and then like it was just one of those things where it's like my ankles are all swollen when I get off the plane and all that fun stuff.
So after you recovered, because it probably takes you a day after travel to recover.
With me, it takes like forever.
Yeah. So what did you guys do? Did you guys like go on safaris and hikes and? Yeah, so we did a bunch of. We didn't go on an actual safari. We went on a game drive, so we got to go out and see all the animals out. Had this truck. It was out in the middle of nature, obviously, and we got to see like all the big guys were out there, the elephants, the what else did we see? We saw some lions. There were a bunch of animals, tons of monkeys, tons of just all kinds of animals. Oh my gosh, it's just crazy how many animals. You just turn around and there's a warthog walking down the street, right? So we did that. I've got a fun story. We went into Harare. That's where we were because that's where he's from and that's the capital. And super awesome. I didn't know, like the roads are really bad in that part of Africa. So it's like, they're like calling it an African massage when you go down the roads because you just bump, 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 bump. We went to Victoria Falls as well. So we could see the falls, that was breathtaking, amazing. Probably my favorite thing about the vacation, just visually, like it was stunning and hearing the loud roar. That was so awesome. We went and we actually decided we were going to whitewater raft on the Zambezi, which we did. We did do that. I whitewater rafted on the Zambezi, and that was pretty dope. What's not dope is the fact that you have to go down this gorge to get down there with no trail, slippery, falling over. I still have cuts that are, scars and stuff from landing on my hands. Get down there, no water, right? They're not giving us water either. These guys will like do it all the time. They're just doing it and they don't just water, whatever. I'm hot. I run hot. And I was just not happy until we got to the river. Then I could jump in the river. I jumped in the river. I got to float around in there and cool off a little bit. The actual rafting was amazing, amazing, beautiful, beautiful sights all around. Going back up was horrible for me. And let's just say I sat down and started crying and said, I don't want to be here anymore. Get me out of here. All the guys are like, you have to get up. You have to go. I'm like, you don't have any trails here. You didn't tell us how to like prepare. You didn't tell us to bring water because we thought we were going to get it. Whatever. Yeah. So I had 4 different gentlemen carry me up the rest of the gorge. And they wanted $10 at the end. And we're like, we're not giving you $10 for carrying this girl all the way up a mountain. No, you don't get just $10. So, we helped them out a little bit, but it was, I can say I did it. If I would have read the reviews, I would have known that like, that's what it was. There were so many people. I read reviews. There was one person who was like, somebody in our party had to get helicoptered out of there. There was like a 70-year-old man who couldn't make it up there. And they hoped that he made it up there because they left. And there was one guy down there with him. I'm like, okay, maybe I should have read the reviews, but the actual river rafting part, I would never trade that part. Let's get rid of that down and up part. I'm out of shape constantly. So, yeah. All right. So now let's talk about the 40th. You're like this world traveler.
That's another reason. Like traveling, I never thought because it's so funny. in my 20s, I felt like, how are you going to make money? And like, how can you go on trips? How can you do all this stuff? Right. I'm like I'm going to college and I have a part-time job and I'm just paying my bills. So like, I'm never going to get to travel. And then I've been able to travel now that like, once you get older and you start getting your shit together and start saving your money and start doing all this and having, a bunch, of savings accounts for trips and stuff, becoming an adult because I married an adult, who like keeps me in check and tells me like, this is how it's going to be. But yeah, so we went and we got to go to Quebec City for my 40th, which was on the 7th.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. But yeah, we went there. We had booked this trip a long time ago, and my wife was just really about it because she's always wanted to go to Iceland and they have an ice hotel there. And she's like, we should go to this one because it's the only one over here on this continent and blah, 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 blah. And she didn't have to sell me on it. I told you I run hot. So I was like, yeah, let's go to the ice hotel. That sounds brilliant. Sounds brilliant. So we got to do that. They give you, so we went to that ice hotel. They give you a regular hotel room as well. So you don't have to stay in the ice hotel. In fact, they have the ice hotel opened up during the day for people to come around and tour and go look at all the cool rooms. We got the basic room, which is just basically a bed with, here's a sleeping bag and have fun. And the bed's made out of ice, which is awesome.
No, it's not.
They have a top. They have a top. No, for real. So what happens is when you go into the ice hotel to actually stay there, they tell you, okay, you got to wear your layers, right? So we had our long underwear on, which we had to buy because we're from Texas. So we ordered all this stuff on Amazon like 2 days before we left because that's how we do it. And so you wear your layers, and I had a big old hat on, my jacket, my coat. We had borrowed some snow pants and shoes and all this stuff from people. My wife loves Facebook where they have the free groups so we got some clothes that we borrowed from somebody. So you go in there, there's no electronics or anything going. So you don't have that buzz. You don't have that sound. There's no sound. It's like nothing. That's what was the weirdest part, was just not having any sound.
Wow.
But getting in there, you go in there, they have you make sure you put your glasses in the bag that they give you, because if you set them down, it's going to stick to the ice. And then the next morning you won't be able to get your glasses off. And you put all your stuff in there, right? So that precipitation, any of the condensation doesn't like end up having your clothes get stuck to the ground. Put all that in there. You get in the sleeping bag that you zip, 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 zip all the way up, right? And you have your little head sticking out like this. And you have, your hat on. I took my hat off because I was like, it's too hot. Because like I said, I run hot. They said, you might want to take the second layer off. I took the second layer off. I took my socks off too. But I woke up and my face was completely red because I had my head sticking out of the sleeping bag. But it was such a great experience. I actually slept better than I thought I would. And I don't know, that was fun. They had an ice bar too, where you could get
what's the temperature? What's the temperature in the room?
It's above freezing.
Well, that's good.
I don't know, because they do Celsius and we do Fahrenheit, so I don't know what it was. No, I don't know. It was whatever the video we watched. I don't pay attention either. Whatever video we watched was like, oh, it's conditions that you can stay in and are going to be fine. Just keep your sleeping bag on, blah, blah, blah. It was really cold. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head what it was, but
and there was an ice bar.
Like there was an ice bar with, we got these drinks. They give you one free complimentary drink. And so it's like just an ice glass. Like it's
nice.
Got a hole in the middle and they put the drink in, and all the bars made of ice. Everything in there was made of ice. There's sculptures everywhere.
So cool though. I mean,
it was so cool. Like it's an experience. So I was like, I wouldn't do this again probably, but like doing it once was pretty dope.
That's amazing.
Enough, huh?
Oh man, it's so cool though. Literally so cool.
I can't believe this. So we know that you love music, hip hop and punk rock and stuff like that. And you do some live music and freestyle rap for fun and whatnot. So we, I don't know if you heard, but we have Zumba coming to the expo. Are you ready for that?
I mean, I could probably not at this moment, but I will be. And get there. Goals. Yeah. Probably.
Do some hip hop and stuff like that.
Some hip hop. I'm not the greatest at having like rhythm or any of that kind of stuff, or being, any sort of fit. But yeah, that sounds fun.
Yeah. I mean, that would be really awesome if everyone would, we will have so much
sure we
fun.
could.
Yeah.
We can make that work.
I will not be there. I'm being honest and telling everybody I'm not going to Zumba.
I'll talk to my wife about it, because she'll probably be like, yeah, I'm all about that life, and force me to go, basically. So
Oh, definitely. I would love to see you all there.
Yeah.
And with music, Kacey, because I'm a big fan of music. And so I see a lot of stuff that you post, and I noticed that you got tickets to When We Were Young in Las Vegas.
Oh my God, yeah.
I'm so upset
baby.
over that. Yeah.
When I had money. Yeah. I gotta stop.
Like, is that a whole weekend thing? Is that what it was?
Yeah, so they're doing a Saturday and then they have a Sunday show. Same lineup, same show.
Are you going to both days?
No, just Saturday. It was so expensive. Like, I'm not even kidding.
Okay.
Oh my God. But my favorite band in the whole world is going to be there. So, like, I say that Cobra Starship. So,
I've seen them.
Oh my God. I used to rap on stage with them, do freestyle during Snakes on a Plane, bring it, the song that they do. Ladies and gentlemen, these snakes is slithering with. Okay, anyway.
Yeah.
So I would do that on stage. So I was pretty tight with them, just because they would always call me to come up, Kacey Kasem, and then like I would come up on stage. So I've rapped on stage with them like 4 or 5 different times, and I'm just like, oh, I can't wait to see them. It's been so long. They broke up, and it hurt.
You know what? You need to send them some messages or something, so they can call you up on stage.
I know.
They would do it. I
already talked to their guitarist, and she like posted this whole thing about how I used to rap on stage. I'm like, call me up. I'm ready.
Is your wife going too?
Yeah, she's going too. So she's like, is Blink-182 going to be there? I said, no. And then she asked me if another band was going to be there. I said, no. She's like, is Good Charlotte going to be there? Like, no. But I was like, but All American Rejects are going to be there. And I know you like them. And Fall Out Boy's going to be there. And, there's just so many bands that are going to be there that I just remember seeing at Warped Tour. So I'm like, this is going to be dope.
Totally.
Yeah. Warped Tour, man.
I told myself, okay, I'm kind of getting old, everyone. Okay.
Yeah.
I think we all know this. I can't handle those 3-day fests anymore. I just can't, but Riot Fest, I told my daughter, I'm like, I'm never going back to Riot Fest. I'm done. I don't care. I said, the only way I'm going back to Riot Fest is if My Chemical Romance gets back together. And son of a bitch, they got back together.
Yes.
And I had to go. Okay. I had to go.
All right.
They were so good. They're going to be there, right? They're going to be at When We Were.
Yeah, I think so.
I think they are.
See, I know. In fact, because back in the day, I went and saw them for $10.21, and it was a promotion that the 1021 radio station had going on. $10.21, and then I saw the ticket prices for their last tour, and I was like,
yeah.
Ooh, I missed the $10 ticket days.
You know what? I had 3-day passes for that Riot Fest. I only went on Friday night to see.
Oh yeah, you were like, nope, done.
Yep, I was on Friday. So like I said, I'm like, I'm never going back to Riot Fest unless Foo Fighters are there. Guess who was there last year? Foo Fighters. I'm like, are you shitting me? So I had to go.
Right.
So I'm like, you know what? I'm not going back to Riot Fest. This coming September is Riot Fest in Chicago. And I'm not going back to Riot Fest. They haven't dropped the lineup yet.
Okay.
But they had a contest. So I entered the contest. Guess what? I won 3-day passes to Riot Fest.
Oh, wow. Well, hopefully somebody will be there that you actually want to see.
They will. You know what? I don't care if I only go one of the nights. I don't care, or one of the days.
On.
Yeah, that's a long day, but yeah, I guess
pretty rad.
I'm going back to Riot Fest. Yeah. You ever gone to Lollapalooza? Have you ever done that?
No, I'm not a big festival kid, even though I wish I was, I always wanted to go to one of those. And now I'm like at a point where I'm like, do I want to go to that? I don't know. I like to sit down at concerts now.
Yeah. Lollapalooza, no. There is nobody. Okay. There's one person. If Eminem comes to Lollapalooza, I'll go that day. That's it.
And that's what's going to happen. That's going to happen now because you have that touch, that magic touch.
I don't know. We'll see. Well, I'm super jealous that you're going. I've met Fall Out Boy twice, because they're one of my favorites. My daughter and I, it's kind of like our thing. We're going to Grand Rapids to see them next month.
Dope.
I'm going to miss the show that day. Oh, hey, by the way, can we ask Doug Orth to fill in for me that day, Carla?
Yeah, I will definitely ask him.
I
would definitely love that. You would definitely.
I'm not paying him or anything, but if he could come, that would be good.
you can always call him babe, and he will be happy to fill in.
Yes, I heard him earlier there. So
I know. Did you all talking about music? Did you love the halftime with the Super Bowl?
Yes, it wasn't my favorite halftime show, but I was like, if Alicia Keys doesn't come out, I swear, I'm going to throw the remote at the TV. Alicia Keys better come out. I love Alicia Keys. And so, yeah, and it just brought back all these memories from being in high school. And, I don't know. It was just, it was pretty dope. And Usher, that man, I don't know. Does he age? I don't know. It's just, It's Usher. Yeah. He's just Usher, he's an awesome dude. I love the halftime show though, because mainly because Alicia Keys came.
It's so controversial every single time.
Oh yeah.
Everybody's got a bitch about it. I just don't understand. Like, why can't you just say, yeah, it wasn't my cup of tea, but it was good. I mean, it's fine.
Just say it's good. Because I know like when when they had all the 50 cents and the and Kendrick was there, but it was like, I know that my dad was probably like, rap music, right?
The generation,
music, right? And I'm like, dude, I rap, right? But like, at least you can appreciate it, right? And say like, that was a pretty cool show,
Yeah.
So like, yeah, just not everything. Like Taylor Swift's not everybody's cup of tea, but guess what? She's doing what she likes to do, and she's making money, and she's having fun. So you know what? I cannot fault a person for that. So halftime shows, I'm sad. I saw that meme that Usher was able to show both of his nipples, and Janet Jackson was not allowed to even show one. So, but
I love that he did he did incorporate that show and show the African American in arts that day. It was really amazing, and I applaud him for that. No, that was an amazing show. I loved it. It was really beautiful.
I liked it. Like I said, you're never going to make everyone happy.
You're never going to make and that, I loved Katy Perry's halftime show, and then people were crapping on that, and I was like, okay.
Yeah.
You just have to appreciate,
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't drive around in my car listening to Taylor Swift, but you know what? That woman is a businesswoman, and everybody's like, she's doing this so she can get publicity.
She doesn't need
publicity.
She doesn't need it.
Like the Swifties run the world, man.
I mean, my wife. I mean, the reason Taylor Swift showed up on my top 5 on Spotify is I'm going to blame her. But like, I see her early, go listen to Anti-Hero or Blank Space or something, and just whatever, and just blame it on her. But yeah, I mean, I like. There's so many different types of music out there, and everybody's so different. It's like, don't be trapped in a box, and also be open-minded about the fact that, people are doing what they love and other people enjoy what they're doing. So let people enjoy things, Don't gatekeep.
You cannot put people like everyone the same.
Right.
And I was talking to Wendi earlier that there was someone that posted something on Twitter today, and he's putting people like the same. You cannot put women and men the same. People are different. Be knowledgeable. Like, we cannot just put everyone in the same perspective. You need to be knowledgeable. We need to just get out of that. People are not the same. Just get out of it.
That guy was just a jerk. I'm sorry. He was just a jerk. She's too nice. Okay. She's like, let's all. She's the voice of reason.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, Coachella.
Too.
Yeah, I don't know if I could do Coachella. Like I said, can't do those 2-day things. Hey, Kacey, you were.
Yeah, go ahead, Wendi.
You were on the women's panel at the expo last year, right?
Yes.
Like, I didn't get to stay for that. So, like, what did you talk about on that? What was your specialty?
I talked a lot about just like working on your mental health and making sure you take the time for yourself when you're doing things, because a lot of times it gets out of hand where you're trying to do too much and you're spreading yourself too thin. a lot about just putting out the content that you want to put out. And, don't worry about, this person has this many followers or this person has, this much people that watch their YouTube channel or whatever. You have a group of people that appreciate what you're putting out, and don't think that it's dumb to put stuff out, and don't think, like nobody's going to see it, nobody's going to care, because somebody will, and somebody, they will care. And so I talked a lot about that, and a lot about like just getting women into Dynasty. I'd really like to just get more people into Dynasty, or to even know what it is, because so many people that I play redraft with just around here, they don't know what Dynasty is. And when I explain it to them, they're like, you do that? Why? So I think it's interesting, because I had such a hard time getting into Dynasty at first because I was scared and I didn't know what to do. And I thought it's going to be completely different than redraft. And it is different, but in a good way. And I don't know. I know it's not everybody's cup of tea. Again, it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I didn't think it would be mine, but I'm leaning so more and more that way. I don't do a lot of like college football kind of stuff, so that kind of gives me, kind of it's not great not knowing college, but like I follow enough people that give me the information that I need, and I have enough people that I can talk to again that, it helps. And I learned that most of my teams were way too old because I was in a redraft mindset, and I won once, and but when you have Melvin Gordon on your team and he's like your best player, then you're like, yeah, you can win once and then you're not going to win again. Rebuilding is fun. And so I just talked a lot about that, and just a lot about the women that I had up on stage with me. Not that I brought them up there, but the women that were sitting next to me, just to hear their stories and kind of just go off of what they were saying, because a lot of the stuff that they had to say was same stuff that I'm thinking. Right. And so it's just great to see so many women out in the audience, and men. There was, Ryan, you brought up Ryan Hallam. I gave him a shout out when I was on the women's panel, because I saw him and I was like, you're the reason why I'm doing this. So like, it was just great to be able to do that.
So I think that more women are playing Dynasty, honestly. I'm seeing that. Okay, so I got in this Dynasty league last year. Great group of guys. I love them all. They forced me into it. Okay.
Yeah, that happens.
Me into it. Mm-hmm. They were just so inclusive. They're like, man, we really want you in there. And I'm like, okay, I'll try it. Well, it's terrible. Okay. I don't care for it very much. So, but I got Erica. Okay, and she's gonna help me. She came on as a co-manager this year.
There you go.
I don't get all of the trades. Like, they want to trade me this guy for these 13 other guys, and I'm like, okay, well, why are you doing that?
Because they think they can get one over on you. That's why. Yeah. But you have to put your foot down and say, nah, that's not how it's going to happen. This is how it's going to happen. I will counter your cruddy offer with an even cruddier one. I was kidding. Don't do that, but. Yeah, the trading part, I think that's what got me, is like just.
So you like that part.
But I do like it now. But like at the startup draft of my very first league, I was like trading draft picks and getting, thinking that I was doing, or vice versa, of trading players. And, it's just like when you do it, you're not sure if you're like, are they, especially if you give an offer to somebody and they accept it right away, you're like, did I give enough? Did I not get enough back in return? Like, what is happening? Why did they accept it so fast? At least when we're like talking back and forth, you can get like a third thrown in or something like that, But yeah, the trading part I love now, but it's probably because of Russ Fisher and all of those guys with that network, that the Dynasty Addicts podcast network. That's where Get Real with Kacey Kasem is a part of, and all those guys are so knowledgeable about Dynasty that I didn't feel. After, the first year I was kind of like, but after that, those guys were able to help me. And you go to people when you're like, should I accept this trade? You go talk to people like Debro and stuff that really know their stuff, and you kind of get their opinion on it. And you don't take it all the time, but sometimes you take what they say and you're like, yeah, that makes sense. I think that, I can ask them for an extra second or something. And so that's fun. And I don't win, but I have fun trading.
I like, you got to learn, like, you've got this taxi squad and, where all these rookies and, things are sitting. Yeah. So I kind of feel like you do need to know a little bit about the college stuff. I'm not, I guess a little bit, but I'm going to go to the combine. Okay.
There you go.
because
That's fun.
I'm only about 2 hours away from Indy, so it's a straight shot for me. I've got some friends that live down there. I'm going to spend the night with them, and I'm going to go, I think, on Friday and Saturday, maybe Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We'll
That
see.
sounds
So I'm like super excited. I know nothing about college football,
watching
but
the combine is so awesome, though. You're gonna have so much fun.
yeah, I can't
Call
wait.
me.
I'm super
We'll tell
excited.
you, Indy.
Yeah.
Kacey, tell us something that no one in our audience knows about you.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. This is it, Kacey.
Yeah, but that's the problem. Is like, what don't you guys already know about me? Like, geez. Wow, you guys are really stumping me on this one. You might not know that I had a podcast before the podcast that I have now. Get Real with Kacey Kasem isn't my first podcast. I actually had a podcast going with my friend JJ, who lives right down the block. You know, he's just a stone's throw away again.
JJ down the block. Huh?
JJ down the block, JJ Jaramillo. We were trying to do a fantasy football podcast. We called it Fantasy Football JK because he's J and I was K. I'm still K. But I learned that like I kind of need to control stuff. I kind of need to be the person that I think that's why solo podcasting for me works so well, is because I can edit and do all that stuff and do everything, but not, it's kind of hard when you have another person and you're both doing it for the first time. You don't know what you're doing. And, so I kind of let that putter out. It's probably my fault, and I'm sorry for that. So JJ, I'm very sorry for that, and I appreciate you letting me go off and do my own thing and do something. But yeah, I had my own fantasy football podcast, talking fantasy football and not just talking to people about their journey in fantasy football.
Wow,
There
that's
you
amazing
go.
to know. See, that's something new we learned about you tonight.
There you go. And you could probably still find those episodes if you go out and want to listen to like some really bad fantasy football takes from like 4 years ago or something. Then have fun. I'm sure they were bad.
Well, I need to go back and listen to a lot, Yeah. So like, how would people find your podcast? Where does it air?
So I have basically on any podcast, not any, but I mean, I haven't tried every single podcast app out there, but all your preferred podcast players you can find Get Real with Kacey Kasem. And it also drops in the Dynasty Addicts podcast network feed as well, DAP network. So you can check it out either way. I get a lot of my listeners come from DAP network, which I'm so thankful for that. That's a big, awesome high five to those guys, because like without them it wouldn't be reaching as many people as it does. And so yeah, just search for Get Real with Kacey Kasem and there's 97 nice episodes right there for you to listen to.
Nice. I listened on Spotify. That's where I found you.
Yeah, that's where I listen to. So hey.
Oh, hey, Gemmo has a question.
Yes.
What is your favorite pizza topping? It's important. The people want to know, Kacey.
It's black olives. It's black olives. I like olives a lot. So yeah, black olives.
The green ones are a little salty.
I like the green olives, but my wife doesn't like the green olives on the pizza, so I just don't ever order it anymore because God, I sound like she controls my life, but really it's just the important stuff like food and money and stuff, right? But yeah, keeps me grounded. Make sure that, because without her, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I don't even know where I would be right now. Thanks to her for letting me do this as well, like.
Big shout out to your wife. Yeah, I can't wait to meet her. I didn't meet her at the expo.
Oh yeah, yeah, she's there. My mom, rest in peace. My mom's dead. My dad, he goes like every year almost now. Like the last 2 years, he's been at the expo.
I saw pictures of that. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how cool is that?
They're all, they're out there making friends of their own. They're meeting people that I don't even know. And it's cool. And people will be like, hey, I know your dad, or I know your wife. I'm like, wow, that's crazy. How do you know them? They don't have Twitter.
Bob Lung and the expo bringing people together.
Right?
Continues to bring people together.
I love it. I love it so much. It is so, I just love it so much. It's like fantasy football summer camp. I love it. And so, yeah.
It's something everyone, I know I look forward to it, especially this year. I feel like I'm going to know more people.
Right.
And without, and just from the people I met last year and the interactions this year, I think I'm going to know more people and and be able to
Okay,
hug
good.
everybody. I'm really excited about that. So
I'm excited
yeah,
too.
thank you everybody. Yes,
Yeah, that's
thank
gonna be
you
so
all of
awesome.
our viewers for coming tonight. We really appreciate you and spending this hour with us. And Kacey, can
Yes.
you remind everybody where they can find you?
Yes, you can find me on Twitter or X or whatever you cool kids are calling it nowadays at the Kacey Kasem, and the podcast at GetReal_pod. You can find all that stuff on anything you listen to your podcast on. So go search Get Real with Kacey Kasem, and I would appreciate it so much. Like, y'all don't even know. It means the world to me every time somebody says that they listen to the podcast or whatever. Like, just it makes me so happy to just know that people care. So thank you, everybody. Thank you both as well, because y'all are awesome.
Oh, thank you. Gosh, we were so excited.
I was excited too.
I kept bothering you, and I'm like, you know what? I mean, I tried to be nice about it. I would
Don't
just be
bother
like,
me, man.
hey,
I'm
yeah.
the most scatterbrained. It's horrible. I am so bad at scheduling. People don't believe me, but like I will ask people, remind me, because if you don't remind me, I'm not going to remember.
And you did say that. I will say that when one of the
Yeah.
messages, you're like, hey, make sure you reach back out when I get back
I
from
am
my
so
trip and
scatterbrained.
stuff. So. But, thank you to the Sports Affiliation for giving us this wonderful platform to come on and talk to everybody and interact with our audience and just let us tell our truth and be real with our life too. So tune in for our next episode, where we will have Ashley, which is EMT_Ashley. She is freaking awesome. I can't wait till she comes on. And also thank you, JC, my best friend that is behind the scenes here, takes care of all of us, makes us look good. We love you, JC. Thank you. So good night, everyone. Stay healthy, and we can't wait to see you next week. Bye.